Hey, it's Romy. Welcome to my channel, Gemini. This is your July 2021 soul story. If you are new and you have your sun rising or your moon in this sign, then you might find that this general reading just gives you a little bit of a heads up and hopefully some insights that are going to be helpful. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. So I'm going to open up today with a card from the new Painted Rune deck by Sophie Mackay Knight. And I've never really used the runes as a form of divination before. Traditionally, of course, they're found on stones, the runic symbols originating from a Germanic alphabet, and in fact then used by the Nordic culture with rune casters who brought through the secrets. In fact, rune means secret, and it really has a profound relationship with the elements, and it felt very timely as we move into this month in July, where we're being invited to tap into our courage, our heart, our sense of inner warrior. And there's really this aspect of having no fear, like becoming fearless to be able to move forward in our lives. So we're opening up your reading with the Energy of Dagaz, who actually came out in the Cancerian reading as well. So there's a theme that's playing out for this July as we play with both fire and water. And there is this sense of now it's time. It's time. So you've come out of this intense eclipse season. Mercury is now moving direct fully. You know, that was an intense transit through your sign for a prolonged period. And I guess the invitation is, where are you now going to channel that energy, that fire, that wisdom, that knowing? There is a sense of kind of karmic clear up happening. And so around you, things might be getting tied up, loose ends being taken care of. But at the same time, there's a requirement for a deeper sense of self-motivation so that you release yourself from the old and really allow this kind of powering forward energy to happen. Now, the energy of Dagaz is actually connected to, in tarot, the world, to the energy of death, of the fool, of the sun. So these big, powerful, bold, cyclical events that are bringing in fated situations, you know, endings and beginnings happening, all wrapped up at the same time. And you can see the way that she's looking forward but also looking upwards. And it is a time to put your best foot forward in that sense, Gemini. You're getting whispers of sweetness that are making their way directly towards you in July. And there's no reason to delay. There's no reason to procrastinate anymore. In fact, I think the recognition that you have, most importantly, throughout this month of July is going to be that your time is your most precious gift. And I think for some of you, it will be landing quite acutely in terms of, you know, where you feel you may have been wasting it or investing it in a way that you now want to readdress. And that's okay. It's not about, you know, judgment or being overly critical with yourself. It's just about recognizing that there now needs to be a shift and a change. And we move to the tarot deck, of course, the Painted Tarot, working beautifully with this rune deck. And the Knight of Wands comes in to further echo the fact that you are now on the move. You are changing on a daily basis. Now it's bringing in this energy of fire. One of the things that's really interesting by way of the energy of the stars, the conversations that are playing out astrologically this month, is that both Mars and Venus are going to be in the sign of Leo. And so as they combine and they actually form a conjunct on the 13th, there's this amazing capacity for both our physical and our emotional energy to come into like this beautiful alignment. And it's just like all of the things come in, and in that moment, there's such an opportunity for a leveling up and taking an action, to be bold, to initiate, to launch, to move, to relocate, to kind of take that step that allows all of the energy in your life to just expand and open up. And I think that there's this vibe that I tune into for you for July, Gemini, about engaging, energizing and expanding. Now, I think you're going to be asking yourself a lot of the same question, which is going to be, what now? What now? And you might even still be experiencing some of the afterquakes of that eclipse, because it's no doubt that it has changed you profoundly over the last year and probably brought about some fairly significant life changes. In the beginning of the month, again, this Mars-Venus conversation that's playing out is actually making some sweet alignments with Chiron in Aries. What that means is that where you have been doing the work and allowing some of the healing to take place. And this is a big month for inner parenting. It's coming through really strong. It's like you have to be, the energy that you are seeking. If you are looking for support and nurturing and comfort and recognition, it's like tending to those parts of yourself in that beautiful parental way is really going to help kind of open you up to a deeper degree of healing than you've ever had. So these trines coming in with Mars and Venus in Chiron before it turns retrograde on the 15th are also helping you to see instant results and manifestations of where you've done the work. So, if you have dealt with a particular issue that's come up over and over again in your relationships, for example, or in fears that have held you back in terms of going after what you want, or limitations in and around your money story, or, issues of scarcity, or, self-doubt, here's the time, Queen of Wands, where we see this inner confidence and rising energy that's telling you, listen, you can take this on. You have the world at your feet. You have the resources around you. You have the potential within you. And it really is an energy in July that's urging you to actually take action with things. And if you're understanding that your time is your most precious gift, then careful planning at the same time as not just sitting in the procrastination of that planning and actually doing is where you're going to see the biggest difference this month. We've got a beautiful new moon coming in Cancer on the 9th of the month, and then Mercury finally moves out of your sign on the 11th, and we are invited to make sure that we are aligning emotionally, and there is this sense of intensity and passion that we're picking up with these fire signs. Now, you may well be connecting powerfully to that part of your own natural energy source, or you might have an Aries, a Leo, or Sagittarius connection around you that's really going to be fueling you in a certain direction. Maybe they're inspiring you. Maybe you're kind of going through some form of resolution or untangling, or you're coming back after that Mercury retrograde to revisit something with a greater degree of certainty about what you want and how you feel and what your expectations are. But like we said, where you channel that fire is going to be really important, because you do have an awful lot of universal support to bring about results and rewards, and you just want to make sure that as part of that process you're really honouring kind of where you've been as much as where you want to go. And I think there's this sense of like honouring the fact that you have a beautiful sensitivity, and you do, I think the Gemini spirit, has that lightness, that playfulness, that ability to sort of tap into the nuances of things creatively and see things where, other people might miss, but at the same time that, that sensitivity can kind of shut you down at times. And so there's this aspect of maybe through the month of July needing to kind of get a little bit of a thicker skin and maybe some firmer protection and boundaries in place for yourself across the board, so that actually when you are starting to channel a lot of that fire energy, you're not getting the wind knocked out of your sail by things coming up. Because in July we have several oppositions and squares, which means that we're going to have these kind of short, sharp, intense bursts or like nuisance energies that they come and they go quite quickly, but it just feels that, if you're not grounded and you're not in that sense of certainty about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you're feeling overly sensitive, especially with Chiron then going retrograde mid-month and asking you to confront some of those feelings and why they are making you doubt yourself, and some of that shadow work sort of just coming up, especially, Pallas Athena as well, the goddess asteroid, is going retrograde on the 14th, so some deep wisdom in the sign of Pisces as she wants to help you to tap into a level of source energy that I think has it feels new to you. It feels different. It's on a completely different vibrational frequency. Now, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Coins coming in here might bring about an air of sort of dissatisfaction towards a certain situation or even person at the moment. And it's important that you don't discredit all of the things that are actually coming together. It can act as an interference, but only if you let it. Again, the fact that you are changing so much, so rapidly on a daily basis suggests that even where there are things that you feel are not working or not aligning or not coming together, where everything else seems to be on board and there's that one thing that just won't kind of come together, there is this aspect of you, again, going back to the, okay, well, what now? Well, there is a workaround here. There is a solution at hand. Now, remember, fire and water can deliver that steam. You know, the water can boil over, and sometimes we have to temper things. Sometimes we have to cool the flames because they've gotten a little bit out of hand. And so there's this constant need for temperance, I think, through the month of July, just so that you don't lose your head or lose your cool. But at the same time, recognizing that this is, you know, as Dagaz has intonated, a time for these major cycles to complete, and you kind of can't be held back. You can't hold yourself back, nor can you allow people or situations to do that to you. So it is a little bit of a push-pull energy, if you like, but at the same time one that can be really conducive, even where you feel a little bit under pressure, in delivering some of the diamonds. Now, here we've got the King of Wands, more fire energy coming in. Of course, what does this all mean? It's very combustible, you know, there's this kind of going from zero to hero in terms of your desire, and perhaps, you know, from a relationship perspective that might come in for some of you. There is a sense of intensity and passion about this month that I'm picking up, but at the same time it could be about your investment or your ideas being all in 1 minute and then it kind of burning out really quick. In fact, burnout might be something you need to consider and think about. But again, you know, your Seven of Pentacles is saying, look, there's been so much investment and work done behind the scenes, that can we not also take stock to kind of realize that so much of this energy is already in flux and in motion, and sometimes like overly meddling in the process of it can also kind of hold you back. You know, you want to be like Dagaz and just allow the energy to kind of almost propel you forward. I mean, when we think about the tarot cards this connects to, you know, the World, Death, the Fool, like these are energies that kind of sweep into our life, and they sort of almost like fatedly kind of take charge of things, and they propel us forward, inviting us to kind of take that leap of faith. And so there's something about you being mindful as that as we move through the month. Now, it's a time that you should expect there to be further news and information making its way to you. Some of that is likely to be very surprising, but in the most positive sense. We've got some sweet alignments with Uranus coming in and with the Sun and Mercury. And so news coming, making its way towards you that gives you cause for feeling a little bit more safe, or a little bit more, I guess, validated perhaps, that your investment or your thoughts or ideas or kind of where you're heading is in the right path, you know, in the right way forward. We also have sort of mid-month Venus moving into the sign of Virgo, and just ahead of the Sun moving into Leo. And so there is this energy of wanting to be kind of front and center and out there, but at the same time like behind the scenes, and having more of a reserved kind of requirement to just kind of tend to things quietly. And I think that's going to kind of also impact you in different ways, like, so perhaps wanting to be really social, but at the same time is kind of having that in a more intimate setting, or kind of wanting to be out there and sharing all of your ideas, but at the same token then having plenty of time to kind of retreat and recharge afterwards. It's a beautiful time through July to be launching and sharing, creating, as Mercury is direct and we've got this nice window of opportunity. Yes, there are some other planets that are in retrograde, but really by way of sharing information and kind of tapping into that inner potential and wealth that you have, anything that you want to do by way of work and career. You've got the Nine of Coins, Nine of Pentacles showing up. So there's an awful lot of harvest and bounty that is making its way towards you. How you perceive yourself this month, Gemini, will be everything. How you see where you're going, what you think you're capable of, how you measure success in your life, how you view abundance, how you look at the path that has led you to this point and how it's changed you. All of these things are going to be so important because recognizing and being able to celebrate yourself, and again, that aspect of this inner parenting that's coming in is bringing about an increased level of confidence and assertiveness and a self-reliance that I think is important, you know, and regardless of whether you are, you know, in beautiful, harmonious partnerships and relationships, it's also about something connected to your own sense of identity and self. You know, as we're in Cancerian season and it's lighting up that second house of value, how do I value myself, and therefore how do the words that I speak, the thoughts that I think, the energy that I express, how does all of that back up the way I want to be seen and how I see myself? You know, these are big themes that are going to be playing out. I love this energy of the yellow coming through here. There's something eternally hopeful, optimistic, but it's also very, very powerful. It's linking into that sun energy. And, you know, your solar plexus just being strong. It's suggesting to me that through the month, there's something that's coming into a sense of balance for you where you feel good about yourself over something. Maybe it's a decision you're going to make. Maybe it's something that you've achieved, or maybe something that you're about to embark on. But I have a sense of you saying, nope, this is the time. This is what I'm going to do. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step. And I think because there's this aspect of these kind of whispers coming through, you're going to feel confident enough that there's this sweetness on the way. You can see the hummingbird kind of coming in, and the hummingbird is directly like pointing toward her throat chakra. So again, it's suggesting that everything that you have to say this month should be, ought to be, and in every likelihood will be in a very positive, progressive, growth-filled way that's actually delivering from an abundance perspective, positivity. Now, there's income boosts that are absolutely available to you this month. Some of the energy and the way that it's aligning and the fact that we have this light shining on that second house for you, Gemini, is saying like you are capable of bringing towards you so much more than you even anticipated prior to this point. Justice is bringing in this sense of the karmic clear up, and like we said, with that Chiron sweet alignments with Mars and Venus, which of course rules the second house, there is this opportunity for you to kind of reap the rewards of past efforts and things, you know. So if you've been trying to advance your career, if you've maybe hit a few closed doors, or it's taken you a few more years than you anticipated to get to a certain point, expect coming out of this eclipse season and this understanding of how we are moving you towards the highest expression of your destiny, Gemini. This is the time when things are going to start to unfold and open up for you in really extraordinary ways. Of course, with Mercury direct, it's a great time. Any signatures, anything legal, anything formal, like formalizing things feels really advantageous for you this month. And that might be formalizing partnerships, it might be formalizing business agreements, it might be formalizing and just getting things written down so that they're really clear for all parties concerned. It might be the way that you want to protect your assets, yourself, your, you know, anything that is linked to a sense of value for you is going to be very advantageous. We're also approaching that full moon in the sign of Aquarius, fellow air sign, on the 23rd of the month. There's something coming in around that point, coming to fruition that I feel you had been hoping for, longing for, perhaps hadn't seen much evidence of. And then there's kind of like a catch-up vibe with it. So it might be that when it does bring something to a point of fruition, it's perhaps a little bit more than you expected. So there's a nice sense of bounty that comes in on that aspect of things. That might fall in any number of areas of your life, but certainly is coming in with a cause for making you feel a little bit more free or liberated in some of the choices and decisions that you've either already made or are set to make through the course of this month. Yeah. What we want to make sure is that we are nurturing this idea of ease, of reciprocity, of openness, of balanced energy exchange. You know, justice links into that beautiful sign of Libra. We've come out of solstice energy. You'll still be working with the kind of aftershocks in the most beautiful way of solstice and the eclipse in your sign. So what do we want to do with that? Now, who you align with, how you align with your higher self as you tap into this beautiful new channeling of information that wants to take you forward, and then who you're allowing into your space is going to be exceptionally important through the course of this month. I love that the Lovers has shown up for you. Of course, it's your card in the tarot, Gemini, and it does indicate that important choices and decisions need to be made this month. Now, as we have all of this fire energy, it might be very connected into people in your life that are either demonstrating those qualities, have that sign, or indeed that it's very focused in and around Leo energy, which happens from the 22nd of this month. So pay attention to kind of that second half of July where important decisions about agreements, partnerships, relationships are coming in and being highlighted in a way that, you know, it's about making you feel more emotionally stable to be able to progress and feel that this aspect of expansion is possible for you. You know, getting too wrapped up or kind of feeling hemmed in or closed off or pinched off from things that you know you want to direct your energy towards is not going to feel good for you. And like we said, just, you know, be mindful of the fact that we have this kind of ongoing speed bump sort of situation where these short, sharp bursts of nuisance energy keep revealing themselves. And so you might need to tell people, tell them again and tell them again. It's kind of that, I feel like the communication, although far clearer than when we were in retrograde, people are still just needing to really understand. And so even if you think they've got it, please just double check, because I feel like people will keep trying to cross the line or cross the boundary that you're trying to put in place. It's going to be really important. I also think that there's this aspect of things happening very, very fast. You know, the fire is kind of coursing through the pathway this month. And even though we have some balancing energy by way of this earth coming in, which is wonderful, we've still got this yellow like really dominating your reading. And again, Dagaz is saying this is happening now. You have the energy of the Fool that comes in connection to the rune here, and so we want to kind of take that leap of faith and say, not that it's now or never, but there is something sort of insistent from the universe, from your guides, that says we have to take care of business, Gemini, this month. Like, what is it that you need to really get a focus and get a handle on? Where are you going to channel this? You are going to feel far more self-motivated towards certain things than you have for some time. And like we said, you should be seeing like instant results and rewards by way of aspects of your life where you've been doing the work, especially where you've made changes that, you know, perhaps have been more difficult. And here we have the energy of the Fool coming in, that have been more difficult, but you recognize they're for your highest good. They're the right thing to do. So it might have been moving away from a comfort zone or an emotional crutch that whilst it maybe wasn't awful, it wasn't necessarily massively toxic, but at the same time you knew that staying there, you know, was really going to start to impede your progress. You know, there's this aspect as well that I feel for some of you, that the tolerance of anybody who's delivering this kind of gaslighting vibe to your door just has absolutely no space. You know, with all this fire and this kind of combustible energy that's swirling around, I feel like there are people that are just trying to get under your skin and like fire you up and want you to get mad, want you to get frustrated, want you to kind of have an outburst. And again, I just feel like you're turning your direction completely in the opposite way, which is exactly what you need to do. Again, looking up towards the sun, just as Dagaz is looking up towards the sun here. You have everything that you need to take with you. There are no more courses you need to invest in. There are no more people you need to have around you. There is no more material things that can prepare you. Like, it's time to recognize that so much of what you have already accomplished in your life and that has brought you to this point is giving you all of the insight that you need. Everything else you're going to get direct from source. You're going to get from your intuition. You're going to get from like going inwards. And in this wider retrograde season, that's where all the answers are. Jupiter in retrograde in Pisces dips back into Aquarius on the 28th. Now in that air sign, it's really delivering some sweet blessings. And again, this idea of like new beginnings forming for you, and also the expectancy that it's going to be better, it's going to be bigger, it's going to deliver more for you. That's how we want you to take July on. Now I know that some of you might not be looking at what is in your immediate environment or your circumstances and how that's being mirrored back to you and saying like, well, where is that good energy? Where is that new pathway showing up for me? And it is more than ever a recognition that you are more powerful than you have ever been, Gemini, and that requires you to direct the energy towards these things and not sit in the frequency of anyone or anything that is not conducive to these dreams and ambitions and hopes and aspirations for you coming together. I'm telling you, you're more powerful than you've ever been. What are you doing with the energy? That is the question that's coming up through these July readings, and I really want you to pay attention to. You have help and support by way of the King of Wands, inspiration, vision, the instincts and the kind of the fuel and the fire and the aspect of tapping into like a deeper innate spiritual wisdom that is going to afford you to help the current sort of blocks to start to dissipate, to what felt like a mountain to become a molehill, to what felt like a path that was never ending, to all of a sudden see the finish line. Like the context with which you are looking at things is really going to be transformed through the month of July if you can allow yourself permission to say, I'm not going there, I'm not accepting that. And a big part of that is going to be this inner parenting. You have to start giving yourself the things that you feel are absent in your life, and it's through that embodiment that you'll start to see what you become. You want that love, you want that stability, you want that energy of certainty, you want the news, you want the opening and the opportunities to come your way. They're coming, but you have to be ready for them. So you have to meet them in the energy place that they're there. Otherwise, they just hover on the outskirts, on the periphery of your pathway, just waiting, because you're the only thing that's getting in the way between all of the things that are meant for you. It's such a destined time. You know, we talked about this over the last few months. Like your reading, you know, had this hand of fate in terms of like the direction that you're moving towards, and things are making their way towards you and fast through the course of this month. But you are being challenged to kind of step up in some aspect, and you know that does require you to have a level of emotional maturity greater than you ever have. So stop going to the petty aspects of conversation that just feels repetitive. Stop wasting your time with people and situations that just don't want to change or don't want to get on board or don't want to be a part of this new timeline or this offer of being able to do things differently and taking accountability. It's like you're really going to start to attract and draw towards you the right people and experiences when you give yourself that sense of like, do you know what? I've changed, and therefore I have to honor that. And here are all the choices and decisions I'm going to make as a direct result of that. So let's take a wee look and see how this oracle card wants to just join the conversation here. So this is the Goddess Oracle. Okay, you have Ain. Radiance. My presence has an impact on the lives of those around me. And again, we've got this link to the sunflowers that's showing up in the Queen of Wands here. And of course, you know, links into the energy of Leo season as well. I mean, fire is so conducive to your air energy. It just lights things up. It just gives you the fuel to keep going. And I do think you're going to be able to accomplish a lot in a short period of time. But the recognition of the impact of your thoughts, your words, your deeds, your expression is so important. Look at all these doorways that are here, and you're sort of moving through so many new portals as you access and channel different types of information. But if you can't recognize, Gemini, the value that you bring, the energy that you have, and the impact that those things combined has on the lives of the people around you, your immediate family, your friends, the people that you work with, the animals that you take care of, the children that you keep safe and love and adore, then you're just missing out. You're missing out on that level of greatness. And so it's in that recognition, quiet recognition, but firm and confident. And that's what starts to lift you. And look at the light that's streaming in around us. Look at the way that all of these sunflowers are standing tall and proud. There's something that you're going to be proud of this month of July. However small, own it, celebrate it, take it. It's yours. You earned it. You did it. Like, I want you to see that in yourself, because that's when other people will start to see that, and all of your relationships between you and everyone else, and your relationship to this experience in this pathway right now is going to benefit as a result of it. I love that word, radiance. Should be your mantra word through this month of July. Remember what I said, your time is your most precious gift. Use it wisely. So this is a general reading, Gemini. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, we talk for another 20 minutes or so, and we just go into this in a little bit more detail. You can find links for that in the description box and the comment section. It's a way to support my work and the channel, and I'm deeply grateful for those of you that join me. So I'm just going to invite you to think about a question I might not have answered in the main general reading, and we'll go ahead and pull a couple of cards for that and go into it in a little bit more detail in the extended. And then we'll just clarify this main reading, see what else wants to come out. So just beginning with that Knight of Wands, Two of Swords. Yeah, like we said, choices and decisions coming up. We also have this Libra energy echoed again. Ace of Pentacles. Nice. Of course, there's always doubt and uncertainty, and maybe have I got what it takes, or is this real? Is this possible? I think the universe is going to be surprising you. There's lots of sort of miracle moments that are coming through this month, but can you receive them? Or are you in an energy of self-sabotage? We really need to take care of business in that sense early on in the month. So Ten of Swords and Ace of Cups, endings and beginnings, just like that world and the death energy connected into Dagaz represents. Okay, you have the Moon coming through and the Three of Cups. Okay, so your King of Wands, again, choices, weighing up different options. Energy of the Emperor coming through, interesting. 8 and 9 of Pentacles and the Two of Cups. So much synergy coming in for you this month. Another Knight of Wands. Okay, there's that transformation showing up again. So much change. Just think life's going to look and feel really different for you by the time you get to the end of this year. Another Queen of Wands showing up here and Seven of Wands. Lots of news and communication. Time to recover from something. Right, Gemini, I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to join me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this. Otherwise, have a wonderful month of July. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. And make sure you comment, subscribe, give me any feedback as to how this plays out for you. Thank you so much. Bye for now.